Yo, man, how we doing today? Today was a pretty good day. Pretty good day. We'll have two trades to go over. But I don't know if I titled the video this or what I'm going to title exactly, but I was thinking about titling it, I will never break my rules ever again. And why do I say that? You might be wondering, how is that? Why haven't you been doing this? Blah, blah, blah. Why I say I will never break my rules again is because I really mean business this time. I mean, I have before, I've been trying before, but I never really took the proper steps. And also, Top Step X really puts things in place to where you should never actually break your rules. Because if you have the ability to set rules for yourself, you can use Top Step so that you don't ever have to actually break your rules ever again without having to rely on your discipline, right? Because my discipline hasn't been good. Top Step X is going to be training me pretty much to be good, right? My throat's a little bit gone. I've been a little bit sick. And then, right, so that's my voice is a little bit gone, right? Anyways, what happened today? Well, actually, first, what are my new rules? What are my new rules? Go on Twitter real quick, and hopefully we hop over here. Our new rules. If follow me on X, right? Diego B Trades. What happened? I said March will be my first month where I follow every single trading rule. Checking real quick here, make sure there's nothing. Okay, hopefully nothing copyright there. Be my first month where I follow every single rule. XFA rules, personal daily loss limit, $150. So I'm not doing any more $200. I'm actually taking the risk down. Why? Well, because it's very mentally hard right now for me to hold my trades past $200. Because, first of all, if you aren't 2 micros, which is kind of what I'm trading, 2 micros for $200, that's pretty good. $100 per micro, that's a good trade. That's like 50 points, right, on average. So the fact that $200 is good anyways, why do I need to be risking 200 so that on my bigger winning days is 200? So I drop my risk down. 1 trade per day. I've wanted to try this for a long time. I've tried it before. I don't really like it, but a lot of times it's because that first trade take isn't really that great. So 1 trade per day, I'm going to start and stick to it. How am I going to stick to it? Well, I'll show you guys the rules on Top Step X in a second. And then last but not least, can't move to break even early or take profit early. That's the only one that I can't physically use a Top Step feature to control. And it's still going to be the hardest one. I think that's the most important piece. Obviously, it goes without saying A+ setups. I mean, why would you take a trade that's not A+ setup? That's literally a no-brainer. And then the combine rules. I have a little bit different rules on the combine. Why? Because I'm less scared, more confident in the combine. I'm willing to risk $400 personal daily loss. How do I make up that $400? First trade, risk 250, or as close to 250 as I can. This one, I really will try and risk the 400 on the day. Again, A+ setups. I'm not going to take 2 setups. I don't have to take 2. I can take 0. I can take 1. I can take 2, right? But no more than 2. Max 2 trades per day. Must obviously hold my trade to stop loss to take profit, right? Simple rules. A+, obviously. 250 on the first one. I de-risk on the second one. Why? Because a lot of the time when I take that first setup, if it loses and I take another one, if I lose again, right, that's 2 full-size losses. Whereas if I take my first trade and I win, that's 1 win, right? So I can't have a bunch of days where I lose twice. So this minimizes risk by risking almost half of the first trade. So if we lose this trade and we lose this trade, we're down 400 on the day, right? $400 for 2 trades. But if we show up the next day and we take a winner on our first setup, and it's around a 1-to-1, 1-not-to-1, we can cover a whole 2 losing day and 1 first winner, right? And then also, too, 150 is big enough to where if we hit a 1-to-1, 1-to-1.5, we're covering or making more than our first loss. So those are my rules. Those are my rules. And why do I say I'll never fail to follow them ever again? Well, it's because of this. I will go to you guys to the combine. Today we had a great day on the combine. We hit $345 with 1 trade. The 1 trade we took, show the executions. Why they change where this at every day? Here we go, right? We got in here, sold one at this low, sold one a little bit early here, and sold one at this low, Asia low. Or where's Asia low? This is the 4 hour low. This is Asia low. Anyways, this was our one and only trade. 3 different take profits. That's why it says three trades. And it was a great day. And the account is already 755. Again, doesn't really matter. Just got to trade it well. But it's really crazy to see the fact that if you go back a while ago, I have a video a long time ago that was titled like my biggest ever account balance on the combine, and it was like $700. And I was trading like 1 to 2 micros, but like this was a 3 micro trade and it made 345. Like that's a good trade. That means I made more than like 100 in each micro. That's a great trade, right? Really happy with that trade. I'll walk you guys through it because I think this is a really, really good, valuable trade. This was the best trade of the day. And then on my Express account, this one, I locked it out before the day starts. I'm not trading this one currently. And then my other one, I made $50. We hit partial TP. I'll kind of go over this trade first because this is the less exciting, the less, cool one. Didn't make as much, obviously. But it's good to start the week on a partial win. Why was it only $50? Well, because I took a partial. Why did I take a partial? We'll go over that. Marked out this 5-minute fair value gap here. I'm really confident that we're going to continue going lower. Why is that? 30-minute bearish fair value gap right here. Also, we have data lows. And the same reason I took a short earlier. We have a SMT at the highs here. We didn't reach this, but we have an SMT here with ES. ES is in that 30-minute. So we go to ES. I guess there is no 30-minute here, but ES did sweep out all these highs here, the 10 o'clock high. So we'd have a SMT internally. It's not really the cleanest thing ever. It's not the cleanest SMT, so I don't really love that one. But we have an SMT, right? And we're bearish because we had a unfilled 4-hour earlier, which we came down to right here. That was kind of my main draw on liquidity. But now we have the data low. Retrace to the 30-minute fair value gap. Now I really do expect us to be bearish, especially if we flip this 5-minute fair value gap. But why did I feel confident taking a long? Well, I wanted to maybe see us remanipulate this high right here at 945, or at least this high right here, which was the 30-minute and the high that we made on 30-minute. So what was I looking for? I was looking for the 1 minute to CISD, which would be right here. Change of state delivery with this inverse fair value gap right here. We had this inversion, and on the 30-second we had a nice inverse right here. So we held that inversion, and then we got a order block right here, change of state delivery right here, and we had this as our first take profit / break even, and then we had this as our final take profit, and it would have been $200 a day. What ended up happening, I'll pull up the video right here and I'll kind of walk you guys through this. So that's why I got in the trade. The reaction out of the 5-minute I really liked. I really liked the change of state delivery here. And I was willing to put on the risk. I was willing to accept the risk. I was risking 150, stop right at this wick low because it rebalanced down to the inversion and then was about to close the change of state. I really want to make sure that came first. Got in there a little bit of a bad entry by like 1 or 2 points. No big deal. Risking 150 exactly at this low. Take profit would have been 258. And if I wanted just $200, I would have just needed it right above this high. But I was just going to play it by ear. What happens? We're going to speed through here. This part's not too important until I take the partial. Why do I go break even here? This candle is 1043. I'll go over. I'll just let the trade play out here. That I go break even. The reason for, and then I take a profit here. I take a profit when it starts moving up. Kind of go over why. I could have maybe not taken a profit, but I didn't mind taking the profit. Again, I'll go over why. Well, spoiler alert, it was because we have an SMT with ES. I'll show you guys the SMT in a second. That's the main reason. So when the market was moving in my favor, I didn't know if the SMT was going to hold. So I decided I'd rather take some off the table because I don't want to not pay attention to the SMT. We're more bearish on the higher time frame than bullish. And I wanted to be smart. So look what happens instantly. I'll show you guys the rules that I set on this account. Why, again, I can't have a day where I ever break my rules again, or I'm not going to this month. And we're going to really see what happens. We're going to see Can I be I will be profitable. Maybe not this month, but I will be profitable. If I follow all my rules, I wait for good setups, I hold my trades properly, I will be profitable. Guarantee it. So it starts running, and I wanted to just take the trade there, but there's no point to. I needed to at least, I couldn't take anything until at least hit this target. And at this point, it looks really good. It looks really, really, really good. The trade does. Because 5 minutes about to close bullish, create these order blocks. This 5 minute order blocks, we tapped the 5 minute fair value gap. We're displacing higher. I thought we would definitely remanipulate that high inside the 30 minute balance, but we couldn't, right? We didn't. So we end up selling off. I'm not going to make it sit through the rest of this. It just sells through and it hits me at break even. So we make 50 on the day. That's why we made $50. You guys always say, oh, why do you make less than when you win? Well, because we hit a partial, right? Why? This was my break-even point, the 1030 high. What happens at 1030? 1030 high right here. We came down, ES displaced through it. Inside the 30-minute imbalance. Inside. Also ran this 5 minute high, so I couldn't just keep holding, and definitely that's why I went break even, is because we ran the break even point. If I'm going to go break even at this high and the ES takes it out, I'm fine taking a partial there. I'm fine going break even. Unfortunately, the trade didn't play out fully to take profit, but why would that be the case? Well, because it's against the higher time frame draw. I still like the setup. I still think it's good. That was the trade. That was the execution. That's how we managed it. So more than pleased with that trade. Because it worked out well, we managed it well. We would have loved to hit full take profit, of course, but it just didn't give us that opportunity today to hit full take profit. So that was the first trade. I did think we would continue to the data lows. We also have all of these stacked lows, but we're starting to get a little bit more inefficient price. Let's see if we do not have an SMT at these lows right here, but it is interesting that we are starting to inverse this gap right here. This 2 minute will be what I'd keep my eye on. I might throw a paper trade on this 2 minute inversion. But let's quickly then go over the trade I took on the Combine, which was the better trade today, and kind of go over that. Off open today, we came up right at market open, right? This market open right here, we actually made a decent 30-second trade right here. We had the new week opening gap below us. Along here, the new week opening gap, so you can expect price to want to draw towards that. We actually right off open 9:30, we come down, we take out these lows here, tap this 1 hour gap right here, 1 hour fair value gap, and we get a 30-second inversion right here. I didn't take this, it's marked 9:30. I don't want to take setups that early, and we run the highs. Why are these highs significant? Relative equal highs, and we put in an SMT. SMT because S&P 500 did not take out those highs, which was London high right there. So ES made a lower high. I always personally like when ES is the one that doesn't sweep out the higher low, because I think it's more bearish or more bullish depending on if ES takes it or not. When NQ runs a high, it's more so manipulation than, and if ES leaves the high, right? What I've found, what I've noticed, what I've heard other people talk about is that if ES or NQ runs the high and ES doesn't, and you're bearish, it makes it more bearish. The SMT is more valid because ES is going to dictate price a lot more than the NASDAQ. So a lot of times you see a little bit more manipulation. We instantly get this inversion right here. I could have taken this if we would have dropped in and taken this trade right here. We would have shorted right here. We short, stop above these highs right here, or really maybe even just this high, and we hold, hit this low, 37 points. We hold to here, $50, 50 points. We would have hit $200 a day in a breeze, but we didn't take this trade. It looks really good. Looking back, we have a very bearish wick. We inverse after the SMT, but again, this is really close to market open for me, so I didn't want to take it. We start selling. What was I identifying? I was identifying the fact that we had Asia low right here. Asia low right here. These lows right here. And we had the 4 hour fair value gap that had been untouched to this point, and we had only been going up all night. So I wanted to see as we put in the manipulation. And I was pretty bullish coming today because I wanted to see us run higher. I wanted to see us run into this area right here. But one thing I've been learning recently is that you cannot ignore the SMT off open a lot of the time, because a lot of the time that is your manipulation for the day. You just can't overlook it. You have to give weight to it. So what could we have done? We could have reswept this low and continue higher. But I'm looking for a bearish continuation, something bearish, because after this, we get displacement lower. We create this 5-minute imbalance, this 5-minute fair value gap. This either holds and we go lower, or it breaks and we go higher if price action is good. I was leaning bearish because of the SMT, because of the displacement, because of Asia low and 4-hour fair value gap. So I looked to scale into position. Why did I not take this trade on my Express account? Well, I just didn't have the confidence to. We trade into the 5-minute fair value gap that we could expect to hold. ES didn't have a gap, but it also didn't sweep out the high. And then we got a change in state delivery. I had my stop just kind of around here. A change in state of delivery on the 30-second right here. Boom. And we managed the trade. That was our entry, was a change in state. And then we sold through. I took a profit at this low, and I'll pull up the video for the rest. I do just want to show my trade here, because this is really good. A really good look, right? The 5-minute trade to it. We waited patiently, got a change of state delivery, entered, drops lower, took our partial, went break even, holds the 30-second gap and a 1-minute gap, makes another order block below it, runs through, Asia low, untouched 4-hour. We could have made more on the trade. I'll kind of go over that with you guys. But that being said, it was a great trade, great bias, great everything. And yeah, let's pull up the execution, because this was a fantastic trade. And while it's playing out, I'll kind of show you guys it. And I kind of want to talk about some of the things I was thinking and feeling during the trade after the trade. I took the trade because it's a combine, right? It doesn't really matter that much, blah, blah, blah. If we would have held all of our take profits down to that low, we would have made $793, which would be great, but we didn't. We got a kind of bad fill as well. This candle came in, hit take profit instantly. That was really nice. So I go break even. We're up 60 at this point. And again, I'll just let the trade kind of play out. You guys can watch it. But what was I experiencing during this trade? Well, when it started working, I was like, man, I wish I took this on my combine, or my eval, or not my eval, my XFA. Because if I took it on my XFA, we would have hit a 50-point trade, and we would have hit $200 a day. And part of me just couldn't accept the fact that I took the trade of the day on the combine. Because why did I feel like, whatever. Why was I nervous to take it on my actual account? Why didn't I? Why am I better at trading on the combine? All this different stuff, right? And none of that matters. What did it cause me to do? I probably could have been done for the day after this trade on all of my accounts. But I had the thought of, I didn't feel satisfied. I didn't feel satisfied with the 350. Although 350 is great, but it just doesn't feel like it's doing anything for me, because it feels like, okay, I didn't pass this account. Okay, I didn't get a payout from this. I'm not getting out of drawdown on my XFA. So everything just kind of felt a little bit frustrating, because when you take a great trade on a paper account or a combine or anything, it just kind of feels like, is this even help? This isn't helping me. This isn't, this isn't whatever. And you start getting that greed, that FOMO, and it just tells you that you need more, you need more, you need more. And in my trading, a lot of the times, I think I just experience that feeling where it's, I need more, I need more, I need more. When in reality, I don't need more. This was a great trade. This is all I need to do during the day. I don't need another trade. The trade I took wasn't bad. It wasn't the best setup of the day, but it wasn't a bad trade. But why did I still have the desire to keep trading? Well, because I wasn't satisfied with being on a combine. Mentally, it's so easy to tell yourself, well, I must not really be confident. I could have just got lucky. If I took such a good trade, why did I take on the combine? All this different stuff. Why didn't I make more on the combine? And all of that stuff is irrelevant. None of it matters. It's irrelevant. We traded really nicely into that 1 minute fair value gap, and we started displacing really quickly back down. That's what you want to see. You want to see that quick snap displacement, some urgency to leave the area, and that's what we got. The break even, I wouldn't say lucky, but we definitely got lucky. It didn't hit break even because it got close. But right, that just happens when you're in trades. That just happens. But continuing with what I was saying is that it feels very what's the word, lackluster or whatever, right? Because even though today, just taking that trade on the combine and then taking and to follow my rules, waiting for good setups, even just the experience we got in the market by watching price deliver, by watching how 5 minute fair value gaps interacted, watching how the SMTs interacted, watching how the drawn liquidity delivered, right? Watching these different things. All of these things combined made me a better trader today. I got better, I learned, I improved. So realizing that, right, we trade perfectly back to the order block and we reject and we start showing urgency to get away, which is another great sign again. But all of that being said, again, it makes you feel like, it just makes you feel like it's not enough and that you want more. And that if you're not doing the $10,000 days, then you're not doing it right, all this different stuff. Because again, man, I would love to be someone that's making 10K, 20K a month, a day, or whatever, $1,000 days, getting payouts each week, all this stuff. But it's just confidence. This trade wasn't luck. This trade wasn't, it wasn't any of that. It wasn't just luck. It wasn't just, you need some luck, but I took a good setup. So even though it was on a combine, who cares, right? It's still a good setup. Even though I trimmed my take profit there, mainly because I didn't really like that big wick reaction, and we weren't inversing that 5 minute. Hindsight, obviously, should have just left my take profit because, that's 12 extra points, that's 24 extra dollars. But you know how I am. I'm hesitant in my trades and holding, but I think I did well holding this position for how I did. But let's see how much longer on this trade. Okay, so you guys are going to see me partial early, and then you're going to see me hold my runner to Asia low and not to the 4 hour gap. So if we would have held to the 4 hour gap, we would have made bank today. Bank, absolute bank. But this is where we're at. So I want to see this 5 minute inverse you can't see. Inverse this gap right here, which I don't know if we do or not. I think we do. But then it trails up. So we start running good. But then as soon as the 5 minute closes, we trade back up just to rebalance, to retap the 5 minute. But at this point, I think I just was like, I'm taking my partial, right? So I took my partial because I didn't want it to just reverse there. That was just hindsight bad. Like, it literally dumps right after, so I just missed out on money there, plain and simple. And we would have made 265 if we let it go. But then we let it run through Asia low, and then I dragged my take profit. I don't really hate that. I dragged my take profit to the 5 minute inversion, the top of it, because I don't want to see this trade up there. And then we continue lower at this point. So, a great trade, right? You'll see how I manage this. It starts dumping, so I just drag my take profit through to make sure I don't give up more than Asia low, because we didn't have to keep going lower, right? Asia low is a nice drawn liquidity, and we hit our take profit and we win. So back to the point, right? Right here. Let's just get this going. So all of that rambling, you guys were watching trade stuff like that, but all the point I'm trying to make is that discipline sometimes isn't even your trading, isn't even whatever. It's just the mental discipline to not allow yourself to trick your brain, to not manipulate your brain into thinking you don't know what you're doing, you did the wrong thing, you should have been more confident, you should have done this, that, the other. Because the reality is, I took a great trade. I followed all my rules today. I took a decent second trade. I did what I was supposed to do. And just because I don't have the yacht, the homes, the money, the investments, all this stuff that everybody that I want to be like has, doesn't take away the value of today. A lot of people probably took similar trades. This was a great trade, a fantastic trade. I can't have this fear of, what if that was lucky? What if I never find another good trade again? Because I find good trades if I wait for quality opportunities. If I hold my trades properly, if I risk properly, I find good stuff. So why worry about things that are out of my control? So I think that's the main point too, is just I need to stop getting in my own head. Am I getting lucky? Do I know what I'm doing? Can I do that again? Why didn't I do this? Why didn't I do that? And at the end of the day, today was great. But I don't have any of that good feeling of if I had a $200 day, because you have to recognize that day trading, this stuff is so much dopamine. It's so much mental dopamine. Why? Because if I would have had a $300 day on the combine on one trade with 3 micros a few months ago, I would have been on top of the world, because that would have been so major. But my dopamine, which is a good thing, right? You want to be less responsive to it, but you have to realize that when you feel down, when you want another trade, when you don't feel satisfied, that doesn't matter. You're not supposed to feel satisfied, unsatisfied, or anything in trading. You're not supposed to get any of those emotions when you're trading. It shouldn't be you feel all this euphoria of winning, right? So when I take this trade, I took one trade with 3 micros, I made 340. It shouldn't matter that it doesn't feel as good as it used to, because that is your brain tricking you. That's the market wanting to steal your money. And that's a good thing. That's actually progress. Me being able to do that with 3 micros on one trade and be disciplined and hop off and then stay and take a good trade on the XFA and be disciplined and stop. That is more progress than you feel. Progress isn't made when you feel great, when you feel euphoric, when you're winning, all this stuff. Bigger wins, bigger wins, bigger wins. Sometimes it's just about following your rules, improving. And sometimes your brain isn't going to release the dopamine and the joy from following your rules or having a good day like it will when you hit a big win. My first payout is going to give me a euphoric feeling. When I pass the combine, it's still going to feel nice, right? All these different things, $200 days are going to feel good. But that's just your brain, right? Things that feel good aren't always good for you. You don't need good feelings for good results. You just have to get better and remember that you're not your emotions. You're not any of that in trading. You're just executing. You're executing an edge. That's all that matters. So that was my biggest reflection and learning point today. Was this is the first time where I've had such a good day, and it just doesn't. I just don't care. Like it's just kind of like I don't know, and it was really frustrating because I know that it shouldn't matter, but it's hard to have such a good day and not feel anything. And I think that's a big thing that traders don't realize, is that a lot of the time what they're doing is they're just trying to feel something. That's why you get into a trade. I came into the day today, I don't know if I'm going to get a setup, but when I thought about that, I don't know if I will get a setup, my brain went, ugh, I want to trade. I want to trade. I want to get close to my combine. I want to take a $200 day on my Express. And recognizing those emotions are so important, because you don't need to. You don't need a trade. You don't need a win. You don't need those things. If you don't trade, that's perfectly fine, because my brain is wired for some reason to crave dopamine, to crave feeling like I'm getting better, to crave these things. And once I can fully detach myself from the dopamine, from the cravings of trading, the all that stuff, and just do what I need to do, it will open me up to a whole new world. Did I need to take a trade here? Look at price action after the objective gets taken. What do I always say? After the objective's taken, the 4-hour gap, all these lows, this was a big sell-off off open. 278 points and more. SMT, displacement, fair value gap, trade-off. This is the model. Day done. What do I always say? After the objective's taken, price becomes less efficient. Less efficient PA. We're technically holding this 2-minute inversion, but it's so sloppy. We're technically holding this 5-minute fair value gap, but it's so sloppy, right? Because the objective was taken. So again, do I hate this trade I took on the Express account? Absolutely not. I think it's still a great trade. Inversion, liquidity sweep, 5-minute, right, 4-hour gap. But I probably mainly took it just due to the fact that I wasn't satisfied. I wasn't able to just say, I'm not going to take a trade today. And it worked out for the better, right? We made a little bit. But I need to get to the point where I don't have to trade, where I don't have to do this, do that, the other. And I'm not bound by the dopamine receptors in my brain. I have to separate the ape from the human, right? I have to separate those things because 90% of your decisions, in the Atomic Habits book, I read it a while ago, but something like 90% of your decisions are made unconsciously. That's dopamine. That's whatever. That isn't you. That isn't you consciously thinking, right? So when you're trading, what makes you think that 90% of your decisions aren't going to be made for you subconsciously? Make every decision consciously. Why do I mean that? Well, right off open, you see this happen, you see this inversion, you get this feeling. Get in the trade. Get in the market. It's a good trade. I'm not saying it's a bad trade. But if you're just push buttons, you're getting in because you weren't even planning on getting in. You're not going to trade at 9:35. That's not your model, blah, blah. But you see it, and you make a decision based off of your emotions, something that you're not consciously doing. Obviously, you're consciously pushing the button. You know what's happening. You're not an idiot, but I don't know how to explain it. I know you guys know what it feels like to take a trade that you weren't even really planning to take, but you saw it set up, and it's like, oh my gosh, I got to get in. And that's not necessarily a horrible thing. That's not a bad thing. That's not anti-trading. But it isn't exactly what you're supposed to do all the time. And that's the reality, is that you don't have to take trades like that. I really like this on an Express account, or not Express account, on a practice account. So we're going to take this one right here. Practice right here. Break even, take profit right here. Really like that trade. 2-minute inversion, 5-minute delivery. We have these equal highs. I wonder if ES has already taken this high. It hasn't. We're running higher, so I really like that on the on that. But that's my main point. Something I do want to highlight again is that on this trade here, something that was really nice in the delivery was when we ran higher. Let's go to the combine. When we made the change of state delivery on the 5-minute, this also order block on the 1 minute. We trade up, change of state delivery, fair value gap. We trade perfectly back up, tap the fair value or tap the order block, CISD, and fair value gap, and deliver lower. That's another entry. Just want to talk about that. But I don't really have much else to say, right? I think I've said everything I want to say. Oh yeah, I want to show you guys the rules and how I know I will never break my rules again. How do I know I'll never break my rules again? And this is what I suggest you guys do. Figure out your rules. I have the personal daily loss limit. And I have my settings locked. I have maximum trades per day, 1 trade. It doesn't mean you can't partial. After you partial, you're done. But maximum trades per day. You can even scale in as long as you don't partial. So once you get in a trade, you place an order, and let's say you take a buy. If you take a buy with 2 contracts and you sell one of them, you can no longer place any more position because that's a round trip trade. Get in, get out with one of them. But you can still execute the last one. It doesn't just close your account. But what happens? Personal daily loss limit 150, liquidate and block. As soon as it hits 150, it liquidates and blocks. So I can't lose more than 150. As soon as I take my trade in and out, it locks the account. I can't take another trade. So I can never take more than 1 trade a day. I can never lose more than 150. And that's why I can never break my rules ever again. Combine's pretty similar. I just have a $400 liquidate and block. I have no trade limit, even though I'm going to stick to 2 trades. I didn't do a trade limit just because I don't want to take partials on a trade and then be stuck. So Combine is not as serious, right? But technically would go break even here just because of the tap on that area, but I'm going to leave it. But yeah, The only thing I can do now is make sure I take the best possible setup, right? What do I not want to do? I don't want to just get into some trash, terrible setup right away and be done for the day. But I won't overtrade. I won't over risk. But I don't want to be just slapping horrible setups just because FOMO, right? So what this will allow me to do is it will allow me to take less trades. It will allow me to take eventually, maybe not right away, but it's going to start training me to take higher quality trades because I can't just get in, try this, try the other, get break even here, do that. I have to wait for a good quality setup. So there's only positives that are coming out of this. Wow, I guess we should have gone break even there. Who would have known, man? That's crazy, but oh well. It's practice. Does not matter. But that set was nice, dude. It's crazy. And I'm just gonna inverse back down. So who cares? Paper trade, right? Should have been break even, but whatever. Yeah, all over the place a little bit, but really excited for this month. A fantastic start to the month, right? Small win, partial win, and then nice win the combine, right? Again, it's weird that it doesn't feel better than it does, or that it should, or it doesn't feel as good as I feel like it should. But that's probably growth in itself. So Real Madrid play tomorrow in the Champions League. They let me down this weekend, man. Really let me down. But that game is so exciting tomorrow. And yeah, my throat's starting to hurt more, so don't feel like keep talking. This is already a really long video, but a really, really good video, really important video, really big day today. And I appreciate you guys that are watching. Subscribe to the YouTube channel if you haven't already. And then follow Diego B Trades on Twitter. I'll put it in the description. So follow me there. I'll be posting a lot of stuff on there. And I appreciate all you guys that have been watching the videos. We've been killing it recently. And I'll see you guys all tomorrow. Sorry for the longer video, but I think it was valuable. Peace.